And I'll begin by reading the Indigenous Land Use Statement. We acknowledge the land which we occupy today as the traditional home of the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok tribal nations. These sovereign people have been caretakers of this land since time immemorial. Despite centuries of genocide and occupation, the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok continue as vibrant and resilient tribes and bands, both federally recognized and unrecognized. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the generations that have gone before, as well as the present day Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok. I hereby call this meeting to order at 10:32 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Brett, when you're ready, if you could start the roll call.
All right, thank you. I promised someone I'd start with them first this week. So CAEB President Mark Sheppard.
Present.
Present. President Stacey.
Present.
Present. Vice President Dominique, I know you're not feeling great.
Present.
Present. Thank you for being here, at least for the first part. Director of Finance, Brianna.
Present.
Present. Director of Legislative Affairs, Sylvia.
Present.
Present. Director of Public Activities, Sydney. I don't see them on here yet. Okay, absent for now. Senator Molly. Senator Molly. I see them on the chat, but I have to have a verbal confirmation. We'll come back to Molly. Senator Nathan.
Present.
Present, thank you. Senator Colton.
Present.
Senator Nick. Don't see him on here. Absent. And legislative analyst Angie let us know that they were going to be out. Excuse absence, thank you. And I think I got everyone. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of 11 are present.
Sorry, I'm here. I just had to run to the restroom.
Got it, Molly. Thank you.
All right, with quorum met, we will now move on to adoption of the agenda. And I apologize, I sent this out a little later than I tend to this morning, so that email probably just went out within the last 10 to 15 minutes if you didn't see it. Although I can share my screen so we can review it together. All right, so these are the minutes from last week. Roll call. So appointments and swearing in, we want to verify for sure. New business. Second item of new business. And board member reports.
Chair.
Recognized.
I'm here now. I'm sorry I'm late. I couldn't get the link to open.
Thank you for that. Brett, did you note?
Got it. Thanks.
All right. All right, so we're just going through the minutes really quickly because I sent those out a little bit late this morning. Want to make sure that everyone had a chance to look through this. In case you're not logged into your email, I'm sharing my screen now. And then public comment.
Chair.
Recognized.
Hello, American River College Senate. My name is Zachariah Wooden. I'm the Legislative Affairs Director for Region 2 of the SSCCC. Just a few things I wanted to go over with you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zachariah. We're approving the minutes from last week. so
Public comment on that. I apologize.
No, you're absolutely okay. So public comment will be coming up very shortly. Thank you.
I move to approve the minutes.
All right, with no objection, we will approve the minutes. All right, moving on to adoption of the agenda, which I was actually supposed to do first. I apologize, doing things a little out of order this morning. So if there are no objections, we will adopt today's agenda, which also just went out in the last 10 to 15 minutes. Again, apologize for the late message. And FYI, those are the agendas are always posted on IGOR, the ARC internal governance website, and I believe they're also posted on the Instagram. All right, so with no objections, we will adopt the agenda. Moving on to chair's message. So it's the end of week 4. Today is Constitution Day. You can check out the National Archives for more information on Constitution Day. SSCCC Region 2 Delegate Assembly is tomorrow at 5. Director of Legislative Affairs Garcia completed the verification process this week. Next week, a week from today, Los Rios student trustee Jen Galanato will be appearing as a guest speaker to discuss district committees and work groups with all of you to help give everyone a better idea of how these organizations serve student constituents and how you can get more involved. On Monday of this week, I attended the executive leadership team with CAEB President Mark Sheppard, ARC President Dixon, the vice presidents, and the classified and academic senate presidents. We discussed food options, which I know has been an interest of a lot of students as well as the sport. It's come up in recent discussions. We can follow up with the VP of Administration, Kubang, and President Dixon regarding food trucks. There are some logistical challenges to address with outside contractors and the vaccination requirements for being on campus, so that's something to consider. I also learned at executive leadership team, the ARC Academic Senate recently drafted a resolution in support of ACAM students and staff. So this is something to consider as a board. National or local events can be anticipated to impact ARC students and staff, just to draft resolutions or messages of support and solidarity with our community. Transfer week is next week. Monday, there will be a workshop for Sacramento State. Wednesday, there will be a workshop for UC Davis, and there are also workshops for private universities and other California universities that week as well. District Academic Senate will be meeting next Tuesday, the 21st at 3 p.m. So if you've never been to an Academic Senate meeting, the district meeting can be really interesting to see. Again, their agendas are posted on IGOR. And then regarding the recent discussion of sustainability committees, I just wanted to give a quick spotlight to the Natural Resources Department on campus. This is a department within the science division. It's essentially the field biology program on campus, and many of their classes are listed under natural resources or NATR separately from biology. They offer courses in environmental policy, sustainability, ecology, wildlife biology, conservation, forest environment, rangeland and fishery management, plant identification, field design, and study methods. So if you're interested in fieldwork, biological research, or general sustainability, I highly recommend you check it out in the course catalog. You can reach out to Professors Jen Neal, Paul Cylinder, and Christy Bowles. They're all dedicated people. And that is it for chair's message. So we will now move on to advisor's message. Go ahead, Brett.
All right, aloha y'all, happy Friday. Pardon the noise in the background. My daughter is homesick today, so you will hear toys and Paw Patrol and all the like. So she might pop in and say hi at some point. Stacey nailed a lot of the stuff on my list, so I won't repeat them. The only one I will repeat is Constitution Day, which is today. Sydney, I apologize. I took over your job a little bit this morning and hopped on Instagram and posted some things. Constitution Day has to be recognized, celebrated, however you want to interpret that, because the school receives federal funding, right? Financial aid, TRIO grants, other grant programs. So that's part of the auditing reporting process, is we have to show what the school did for Constitution Day. So if anyone has any ideas for things they want to kind of post on Instagram or Discord, let me or maybe Sydney know. I posted some things on Instagram this morning, but we all need, resources and perspectives, whatever you might want to share. So that's that. Let me see, let me go back to my notes. Kind of along that line, voter registration day is September 28th. That's a Tuesday. We just had the election, but we want to encourage folks to register to vote for, I believe, 2022. I don't think there's one in November this year for any local issues. So any ideas you might all have for that would be great. Seesaw, last week you all passed the bill to attend the conference, but when I was doing the registration, I realized I don't know who wants to go. So what I would ask is if you could send me an email saying that you're interested, that you want to attend, because I have to put your name down in the registration because they're going to email you the Zoom links and all that stuff. So it's not required to attend, but if you want to attend, I would just ask that you're present, that you're actively participating, and you're not just chilling in the background, right? Just try to be active, whether that's on the chat, video, whatever that might be. But please send me an email. If you can do it today, that'd be great, but sometime this weekend. That way I can get your names down for being registered. Let's see. A couple other things. The vaccine mandate, as you know, it's, at least from a staff perspective, it's on everyone's mind right now. There's been a lot of things happening this week. I don't know if y'all have seen on the news that Sac State went into effect this week, and roughly, I think it was like 2,300 students were notified that they weren't allowed to be on campus because they didn't submit their vaccination status. And within 3 days, that number got cut in half as students just realized, oh shoot, I need to turn that in. So please encourage your friends, your colleagues to do that. The waiver deadline has passed. So, keep that in mind. But for anyone that just has their card or their QR code and they just need to submit it, please do that. Let's see. The only update I have is the shared governance, like the councils. We still don't have times yet and how many folks will be on each of those councils. At least I haven't heard anything. I don't know, President Burrows, have you heard anything in regards to those yet? I didn't think so. Normally they would loop both of us in there. So stay tuned. They're behind. We should already have these councils up and running, or at least with the appointments. So just stay tuned for that. So if you're interested in one of those councils, just be aware that those are coming hopefully soon. And that is all I have. So thank you. Keep grinding. We're done with week 4, like Stacey said, but get some rest this weekend and back at it. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Brett. So we will now move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address ASB Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. Are there any members of the public who wish to make a comment at this time?
Chair.
Recognized.
Thank you. This time, the actual reserved time. My name is Zachariah Huynh. Again, I'm the Legislative Affairs Director for Region 2, of which American River College is a part. I just wanted to drop in and mention 3 important things with regards to SSCCC. The first one being the SSCCC Fall 2021 Professional Development Event. That's occurring from October 1st to October 3rd at the Long Beach Westin Hotel. Registration does close on September 24th, and we're seeking registration. We have a full pack schedule for that, so I'll drop the link in the chat for that. The SSCCC also has a return to campus survey that we're seeking, as many people as possible to fill out, just so SSCCC has an idea of, general attitudes or feelings towards return to campus policies or how return to campus is going. SSCCC also has an AB 1456 petition, AB 1456 being the bill to increase eligibility requirements for Cal Grant financial aid. So essentially seeking to expand financial aid resources for community college students and college students statewide. So again, I'll be dropping those links in the chat for everybody to check out. And then also I will be attaching my email. You can check me out on the SSCCC website, and also Regional Affair Director Galinato's email, because we're both executive board members of Region 2. So you can contact either of us if you have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ledwood. Any other members of the public wish to make a comment at this time? All right, seeing and hearing none, we will move on to appointments and swearing in. So this week I wanted to check in with Senator Carvalho about Director of Communications. It was something we had discussed at the end of the meeting last week. Is that an appointment you are interested in at this time?
Sure.
All right. So if there are no objections, Senator Carvalho will be appointed to Director of Communications. Seeing and hearing none, the appointment is granted. And then Director of Public Relations Fagan, I wanted to check in with you about whether or not you would be interested in receiving appointment for CAEB Representative, CAEB Representative for Senate at this time.
Not at this time. Thank you, though.
All right. And later in the agenda, we're going to be discussing the Joint Budget Committee. So we may come back to appointments for that as needed after Director Huynh has given us all more information about that. And I wanted to share a quick update that I did reach out to Cheryl Sears in operations about Operations Committee, but as of this morning, I have not received a reply. So I have no more information to share on that committee at this time. All right. So with that, we will now move on to unfinished business. Sustainability Ad Hoc Committee. I'm seeking a motion at this time for discussion.
I second the motion.
Oh, a motion has not yet been made, VP Espinoza. Would you like to make the motion?
Oh yeah, I would like to make the motion. Thank you.
All right, with the motion made, is there a second?
I seconded that.
All right, with the motion made and seconded, we will now discuss the Sustainability Ad Hoc Committee.
Okay, thank you. Can I address that, Chair?
Please.
Okay, so sorry, unfortunately I don't have it written up yet, but I've been looking into how exactly to do that. And so I think that the goal would be to try to create, I think we'd all have to agree on this, would be to try to create either like a net zero campus, or just that our goal is to determine our exact carbon impact and or create a plan for sustainability on campus. And so then we would need to figure out who wants to be involved in that exactly. And so far, those are the only steps I have figured out. So, thank you.
Thank you for that, VP Espinoza. And Director Carvalho, I just saw your question in the chat regarding whether or not your appointment is effective immediately. It is. However, Brett is already taking the minutes today, so no worries about that, but we can get you started for probably next Friday. All right.
Awesome.
Any other discussion on Sustainability Committee at this time? Questions or?
I do, Chair, have one more comment. Thank you. If anyone wants to, I don't know if I'm allowed, like, because I made the motion to create the committee, I can't see if I'm allowed to head the chair of the committee, so I don't have any feelings about that whatsoever. Like if someone wanted to try to chair the committee, that's fine with me. I just think it's something that we should all work towards on campus. So if anyone's interested in positions, I think that's something we could start deciding now.
Okay, no, it's completely commendable to have a sustainability committee. And as I've mentioned, I believe other schools within our district do have a standing committee for sustainability and also a director position on their board. So it's a very important issue that everyone should be concerned about, be sort of forward thinking about the future. So Brett, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the ability to chair the committee is open to anyone.
Yep, they would just have to, go through all those steps we talked about last week and then host the meeting. Yeah, just go from there.
Okay, so at this time, if anyone would like to make a motion to form the committee because they would like to chair the committee, the floor is open for such a motion. If not, we may be moving this item. I'm sorry, recognized.
Sorry, thank you, Chair. I am willing to chair the committee. I just have a lot of responsibilities, and I don't want to like put half effort into it because I'm already on like 3 boards, and I'm a full-time student, and I have 2 kids. So I'm willing to do it. I just don't want it to be like I'm not given the best amount of attention. I'm not sure. Maybe we could look outside of our Senate. Find a student that just has maybe their own passions, that doesn't know that this is happening on campus, that might be wanting or more well equipped to do that. Possibly maybe someone who's more scientifically inclined, or maybe is studying environmental law or something like that.
Okay, I am involved with the Natural Resources Department on campus, and I know that their instructional assistant, Alex Enderley, is normally a student, although she's taking the semester off, but I can try to reach out to other students within the program to find out if they might be interested either in serving on the committee or having some other kind of involvement. Is there anyone on the board who would like to make the motion to form the committee, chair the committee at this time? Otherwise, we will be moving this to old business for next week's agenda.
Chair, excuse me.
Go ahead.
I'm okay with chairing, putting it on the table till next week, and then I can have the week send out an email that would give more of a mission statement and objective for the committee, and then you could use that to maybe try to recruit some students.
Okay, that sounds good. Would you like to make the motion to move this to old business for the next agenda?
Okay, thank you. I'll make the motion to table it for next week then, for the agenda.
All right, with the motion made, do I hear a second?
Second that.
All right, with the motion made and seconded, we will now move on to new business. So I'm seeking a motion at this time to discuss the Joint Budget Committee.
I make a motion to discuss the Joint Budget Committee.
All right, with the motion made, do I hear a second?
Second.
The motion made and seconded. Go ahead, Director Huynh.
Hi, everyone. So I talked a little bit about the Joint Budget Committee during my board member report last week. Basically what it is, or what I need right now, is an appointment to the committee from the Student Senate, because the committee itself is composed of 6 members, one of them being the CAEB President, the Student Senate President, the Director of Finance, and the Commissioner of Finance from CAEB, and then a representative from each board. And so from the Student Senate, we need 1 representative, and it's not a huge time commitment because it is only 2 meetings a semester, and because there are so few of us, it'd be much easier to work around your schedule if you have any schedule conflicts. And the powers of the committee are to look at if there's ever a request for a bill that is over $10,000, or any spending from the Student Senate or CAEB that is over $10,000, the Joint Budget Committee would look at that bill because it's like over a specific spending amount. And then if in the case that we have a meeting and there are no bills of that nature to look at, we'll look at the budgets and whatnot and the formulas we use for spending the ASB general funds. So if you have any questions, let me know. You can also find this information in the ASB Constitution for ARC. So.
Thank you, Director Huynh. All right, are any members of the board interested in being appointed to the Joint Budget Committee at this time? We need one representative from Senate.
Chair,
Recognized.
I was having some connection issues. Can I get like the last 30 seconds of a representative that you need for, please?
Absolutely. So Director Huynh was just running down the general responsibilities of the Joint Budget Committee and outlining that we will need a representative from Senate to the JBC.
Okay, I'm already on JVC. All right, thank
You
you.
are.
I
Thank
just
you for your
wanted to make
service.
sure.
Chair.
Recognized.
So there's only going to be a couple of meetings because I'm looking over on the right-hand side and reading the chat. If I'm understanding it correctly, there's only going to be a couple of meetings, and I suppose what does it add to the already existent workload being on this board, if you don't mind me asking?
Director Huynh, would you like to answer that question?
So it would be 2 meetings a semester, and because we're entering the end of our 4th week, I'd like to have our first meeting sometime in October and then our last meeting late November, early December. And so the commitment is like two 45-minute meetings, and it would just be based on the schedules of the people that are serving in the committee. So whatever time works best for you is a time that we could work around. And it wouldn't require you to do any work outside of the committee meetings. It's just attending the meetings and whatnot. But if you're interested in learning more about like the budgets and the funds that ASB can pull from, I think that's really interesting to learn about 71 and 72 funds. And that's something that we can spend time learning about during the Joint Budget Committee if there are no other bills to look at and whatnot.
Thank you for your answer, Director Huynh. And Brett, before I go to you, I just wanted to add, Colton, I believe that you're a computer science major.
Yes.
Think of it as like a code review for 45 minutes twice a week, but instead of programming, it's going to be a budget outline.
Twice a semester or twice a week?
Twice a semester. I'm sorry if I misspoke. All right, Brett, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer some historical context. In the past, when we were on ground, Senate would pass more bills that were over $10,000. And that was because of conferences and travel, sponsoring programs to attend other conferences. So since we've been remote, they haven't had the urgency to meet because there hasn't been any bills that have been over $10,000. However, in the spring, that committee will set budgets for both Senate and CAEB for 22, 23 boards. So it does have importance, but I would say a lot of fall meetings would probably just be learning the budgets and seeing what all your resources are. And then if you all did do something where it gets over 10,000, then that's when that committee, the JBC would meet. So just wanted to add some context there.
Thank you for that, Brett. Any other questions or items of discussion regarding Joint Budget Committee?
Chair.
Recognized.
So if I'm understanding it correctly, we'll be meeting guaranteed at least 2 times, but we could meet more depending on what bills are being passed. And like, for instance, if it's something over $10,000, will we meet for something like that? Just clarifying.
I believe that's correct, Director Huynh.
I am not certain, so I will pass it to Brett, but my comment would be that, let's say a bill gets passed within the next few weeks that's over $10,000, we can just choose to have our first meeting at that point, and then after that, we would only need to meet once more. And if no bill gets passed that's over 10,000, then by the end of the semester, we would pick a date for one final meeting. So it is at minimum 2, but I think with the lack of number of bills that are over 10,000, I don't think you will have to worry about too many meetings.
Chair,
Yeah, recognized.
I would say that that's the perfect response. In the past, boards tend to knew what was going to be over $10,000 because it tended to be travel and conferences. So they would try to plan JBC kind of shortly after that. So yeah, I agree with everything Brianna just said.
All right, did that answer your question, Director Carvalho?
Yes, I would say it answered it perfectly. And Chair,
Yeah,
if you don't mind, I have a follow-up question. I wonder. I suppose I wouldn't mind doing it. Because if I'm understanding correctly, the reason you would need somebody from the Senate is maybe to report back to the Senate, or what's necessarily the reason, if you don't mind me asking?
Director Huynh, would you like to answer that?
So I think part of it is just voting power, because there are so few members of the committee. There's 6, and technically the Student Senate President chairs the committee meetings, and they don't have voting power unless there's a tie that they have to break, which I don't think will happen, because without the Student Senate President voting, there's only 5 votes that happen. But let's say someone misses a meeting and 4 people attend, the tie-breaking vote would be the Student Senate President. So by serving as a Student Senate representative on the Joint Budget Committee, that would mean that you have voting power when it comes to the votes, if we do make any decisions about bills that are over $10,000, but also if there was a bill that maybe you were trying to pass in Student Senate that went to Joint Budget Committee that was over $10,000, you could be an advocate of the bill on behalf of Student Senate.
Chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I would like to be appointed to that. Yeah.
All right. And I don't think that this requires a motion of consent. So Director Carvalho will be appointed to the Joint Budget Committee. Does anyone else have any questions about Joint Budget Committee? It's also open, like any of our meetings, for members of the public to attend and listen in on what actions are being taken.
Chair,
Recognized.
would it be possible for me to consider this and join next meeting? I still
go
have
ahead,
to
Brianna.
figure out my schedule and all of that.
Technically, the Constitution says Student Senate can only have 1, but I can confirm this with Brett, because CAEB has low numbers right now, being it's just Mark and then his vice president. There is no commissioner of finance for CAEB, and so we are, I guess, down 1 in the committee. And so I would have to ask Brett if that would be possible.
Do you have an
Sure.
answer?
Let me do some research on that. Brianna's right. It is 1 member from each board. Nathan, I will get back to you. How about that? Let me do some homework.
Sounds good.
Right. Anything else anyone wants to add or ask? Right.
Chair.
Oh, go ahead. Good timing.
It's all good. If you don't mind me asking, is there a place where I can read up more on this? Or is this just kind of commonly placed on the American River College website?
So I believe this is going to be outlined primarily in the ASB Constitution, although there may be additional information in the bylaws. Brett, do you happen to know?
You're exactly right. I was bringing up my Google slide to post in the chat. So it's all in the Constitution. There might be some stuff in bylaws, but primarily JVC is going to be constitution. And it, as far as I know, does not have its own bylaws. So everything is kind of laid out there in the constitution.
Chair.
Recognized.
So I was reading through the Constitution this morning to prepare for the committee report. And so when Brett does share the link to it, it'll be on page 15. There is like sections that are crossed off and in red because of the previous edits that were made, but just read the stuff that isn't like, that doesn't have a strike through. And because we might not have a ton of bills and whatnot during the joint budget committee meetings, we'll probably also spend some time just learning about the 71 and 72 funds. And I think there's a place to also read about that on the Google slide. I'll find it and then I'll let you know if you're interested in reading more about those.
All right, thank you both for those answers. Any other questions? All right, seeing and hearing none, I am seeking a motion for item 10.2, October 1st meeting discussion.
I move to discuss item 10.1, October meeting discussion.
All right, with the motion made, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, with the motion made and seconded, technically this refers back to the person who made the motion, although this is an item for Advisor Sawyer. So Director Fagan, would you like to defer to Brett?
Deferred.
All right, go ahead, Brett.
All right, so I asked Stacey to put this on the agenda because that Friday, October 1st, I am going to be out. And so in the past, when I've been absent from either Senate or CAEB, I try to give each board plenty of time to make adjustments. But when we were on ground, I would have a staff that I could have asked to fill in as like an alternate substitute advisor. But I don't have a staff anymore. I'm flying solo. So I could ask another advisor from another campus to sit in if y'all still wanted to meet. Or some of the alternatives would be to just take that Friday off. There's also the SSCCC conference that the Legislative Affairs Director just mentioned. So there are other things that can happen, but basically what I need to know is, do you need me to find another advisor for that day? So yeah, that's really about it. I will not have internet or computer that Friday the 1st.
Thank you, Brett. So this is open for discussion. If anyone has questions or ideas or feedback about whether or not they'd prefer we meet, we not meet, the floor is open.
Chair.
Recognized.
So if I'm not mistaken, Brett, it was going to be conflict as well with
Mark, you cut out there and then you were muted for a second. You can go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, Brett, were you were going to be absent for the CAEB meeting as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll definitely can bring it to our board, but I think I did discuss it outside of saying that we can postpone ours if needed to make it easier.
All right, Brett, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Oh, I think that was from my last time. I read it. My bad.
Oh, okay, Senator Nealon, go ahead. Molly, you're muted, but you can go ahead and speak. right, Molly's still muted, but it looks like she had said in the chat, she's okay with skipping the meeting on October 1st.
Chair,
Recognized.
I'd like to know if there's anything significant around that date where maybe we'd feel it'd be more beneficial to still discuss, like how Constitution Day was today. I wasn't really aware of that. Is there anything like that that maybe would be important, even if we just had a short meeting?
Good question. So this really depends on all of you. If you know, for example, that you're working on a bill and you're really hoping that maybe it's not going to be on the next agenda, but it was going to be on the agenda after next week, that's why we're having this discussion, because you may not want that to be put off until the following week, you know, on October 8th, if you feel like it's really urgent for you to get that bill passed. And so really that, again, that's up to all of you.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything planned, but meeting or not, I'm fine with whatever you guys want to do.
Chair,
Recognized.
do you think we should possibly have a vote to see if to weigh out the responsible majority of possibly postponing that meeting or having the meeting?
We can take a move to call the question in just a second, but I'm gonna go to Brianna really quick, if that's okay. Director Huynh, go ahead.
Of course.
I saw Brett's comment in the chat, and he is right that October 1st is the first day of the vaccine mandate, and I think there might be some like tension or uproar amongst student population / staff when that happens. So maybe it would be good to have that day just to discuss, but also if we have any, even if we don't meet that day, I think it would be good to have some sort of open channel of communication with students that day, so we could instead host some sort of virtual event for students rather than having an ASB meeting. But yeah, I do know that there is likely going to be some sort of tension that day. So that's just one thing I wanted to say after seeing Brett's comment.
Thank you. And that's a very good point. Brett, I wanted to ask, is it possible for
Chair?
the Senate? Oh, go ahead, Molly.
I actually disagree with that. I think the vaccine is necessary and the rules have been laid out. So I think it's good for people to have time to process things before they come and voice their opinion. So that's actually, I thought that would be a good day to skip for the exact opposite reason. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
Sure.
Recognized.
I feel like as student senate, it's our job to give students the accessibility to feel like they are able to reach, members of Senate. And it feels a little weird that we would be, oh, people might be upset, let's take a week off. It feels like, hey, we're not actually here for you guys. We want you guys to, take a little chill break, and then, maybe we'll talk next week. We want to be there as often as we can for students. And if they are in an uproar and they want to come, yell at us for a couple minutes, like that, again, that's what we're here for. And like Brianna said, we don't even really have to speak on public comment directly, but if people feel like they want to say something, I feel like we should give them the opportunity to say it.
I think they've had quite a bit of time.
I'm sorry, Molly. I'm sorry. Colton was next, and we've got to go through the chair. Colton, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that analysis. Director of, I can't remember what it was.
Public Relations Fagan.
Public Relations Fagan. I agree with that analysis. We probably should be here for the students regardless of if they're emotional or not, because we represent them. I agree, it would be a bit suspicious if we just coincidentally didn't have a meeting on the same day that the first day of the vaccine mandate went through. And I also don't know what would be happening possibly 2 weeks from now, because there's still another week for somebody to put something on the agenda. And if they wanted to get it done as soon as possible, well, they have to wait a minimum of 2 weeks. I mean, we've been waiting quite a long time in general.
All right, thank you for your comment. Director of Legislative Affairs Garcia.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to piggyback on what Senator Sydney had said. And I just wanted to say that I think, that's a great idea. I think regardless of what we think, we feel, we don't know how our students may react. And I think that's a great opportunity just to make our presence to them. And, if people need to vent or, just express how they're feeling, that's what we should be used to. People are going to have different opinions. And I think it would just be good information and feedback to intake and just kind of see where we're moving forward. How you said, President Stacey, about Sac State, like I'm pretty sure, something similar is probably going to happen at Los Rios, if they're really trying to be serious with this. So what's next? Like, how are we going to plan ahead if that's something that we would even want to consider, or maybe in the future do something to help out our fellow students.
All right, thank you for your comment. CAEB President Sheppard.
Possibly, I was just suggesting that we have like an Ask a Senator or an executive leader question day. I did put that in the chat, like for October 1st. We can also even possibly host the same thing for CAEB. Ask if clubs have questions, maybe like an open forum. We can possibly do like a joint event via both boards. It's just a good suggestion.
Thank you for that comment, Mark. Brett, I actually wanted to ask you before we go back to Senator Nealon, is it possible for the Senate to hold like a town hall for a specific issue? Because we know this is an item of concern for our constituents at this time.
Yes. The only thing I would advise you all would be that you can't take any action on anything. So it's kind of like public comment, right? It's a listening session. You can ask them questions as opposed to public comment when you really can't. There's a dialogue allowable there, but just know you can't then say, okay, we're gonna vote on this right now, right? That would have to wait until a meeting with an agenda and all that. So it would be just a listening session. I would recommend that there's still some sort of staff here for that, just in case there's questions that y'all don't know the answers to. I mean, shoot, no one really knows the answers right now with everything going on, but that would be my only advice, is that we still have some sort of staff there, just in case things go wild.
That makes sense. I am a member of the staff, but I probably don't count because I'm in another department. But I did want to ask about what is the procedure if we do want to hold a town hall? We post an agenda 72 hours in advance, or?
No, you just promote it, right? Flyer, let students know. Maybe have some guidelines or parameters so that it's just not, some kind of, doesn't have to be parliamentary procedure, but some sort of, speak once, allow others to speak type deal. You could do breakout rooms, right? Where if someone's really upset about something one way or another, you could talk privately with them. But other than that, no, that's really all you would need.
All right, thank you for that answer. I see a lot of hands, but now that everyone's had at least one opportunity to speak, I wanted to ask Senator Nealon if she wanted to comment again. Molly, is there anything you'd like to add before I move on to somebody else? Molly's muted, so I'm not sure. All right, we'll go ahead with Director Fagan.
I just wanted to note that it's also very possible that no one will come. We haven't really had students come to the board yet to discuss anything, though the mandate is already technically in place and you're supposed to start, inching towards that. So it's definitely possible that we're all geared up, ready for this ensuite of people to come and complain and like no one shows up. So I just wanted to note that like we don't have to be like scared or freaked out or go hyper prepared for it, because it's possible that no one comes at all. But I just wanted to stress that it's important that we are there, but just in case.
Thank you for that. Director Huynh, go ahead.
My comment was just that it seems like we all have a lot of opinions about this, and maybe this is something we want to put on the agenda for next week to also discuss in case that there is some action we want to take in preparation for that next week, or just to decide if we want to offer some outlet to students, because I know for the most part, a lot of us have decided office hours, and maybe we can start just advertising those office hours instead of, if we don't have that meeting on October 1st, just so students know that there is some sort of outlet, because yeah, that was my only comment on it.
All right, thank you for your comment. Go ahead, Director Carvalho.
I believe what I was going to say was addressed very well in both Quinn's and Director of Public Relations Fagan's analysis.
All right. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this or ask a question?
So, Chair,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Did we make a decision then, or I didn't get that? It was, does Brett need to find a replacement, or are we can't hold like a formal vote on deciding about the meeting, or are we deciding to have it? I'm sorry, I got confused in the conversation.
No, it's all right. I was actually just about to ask when Brett needs to know from the board about, because if Brett does need to reach out to a colleague to sit in on that meeting, he might need to do that, you know, sooner rather than later. So Brett, what's your deadline for having an answer on this?
Good question. So next Friday is my last day. I'm maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, just so I have a couple days to reach out and probably let administration know that we're going to do possibly something a little different, just so they're aware of it. But yeah, let's say Wednesday.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe we need to have a motion to call the question. Is that right, Brett? To vote on whether or not we should hold a meeting on the 1st or a town hall.
Yeah, you could do that. Go that route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a real quick overview of Robert's Rules of Order. There's a motion called call the question, and this is where you kind of force the board to vote on something. So if somebody makes the motion and seconds it, we go into a roll call vote of what, you know, everyone's feedback is on that situation. Usually it's an action item. In this case, there's not a bill. It's a matter of whether or not we hold a meeting on the 1st. So how this gets voted on will be totally up to the person who makes the motion. So if you make a motion to call the question on whether to hold a town hall, that could be completely different from call the question on whether or not to hold a regular Senate board meeting on October 1st. So think about how you want to make the motion, but the floor is open.
Hi, Chair.
Recognized.
Can I make the motion to have the town hall, to hold a vote on having the town hall and not having the regular October 1st meeting, if that's okay with everyone? So the vote would be yes, have the town hall, and that gets the day off and doesn't do any extra work. Or no, we don't hold the town hall, or I don't know.
Okay, to make sure that I understand and I'm hearing you correctly and everyone's on the same page, this is a motion to hold a town hall in lieu of a regular Senate meeting on October 1st.
Thank you for clarifying that.
No problem. Okay, so a yes vote would be to hold a town hall instead of a regular Senate meeting on the morning of Friday, October 1st. Yes vote being yes to replace that, no being not to replace that. And we have not yet clarified whether or not, if we do not replace that, that there would be no Senate meeting. So that may need to be a follow-up item. Brett, can you begin the roll call?
Yes. All right. Let me get my roster here. Sorry. All right. Vice President Dominique,
Yes, I vote yes.
Director of Finance Brianna,
Yes.
yes. Director of Legislative Affairs Sylvia,
Yes.
yes. Director of Public Relations Sydney,
No.
no. Legislative Analyst is gone. Newly appointed Director of Communications Colton,
No.
no. Senator Molly,
No.
no. Senator Nathan,
No.
no. CAEB President Mark Sheppard,
Yes.
yes. We have a tie, which means the president gets to vote. That's the first time this has ever happened while I've been an advisor.
Oh, man. Okay. Recognized. Go ahead.
Are we
This
able
isn't
to
usually a
do-
discussion?
Are we able to do a little bit more discussion before you decide?
Brett, I don't know the answer to that.
When a vote is called, you have to do the vote.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Okay, I was afraid of that. All right. I think everyone had very important points here, and I just want to recognize that there are a lot of concerns among the students right now and also among the staff about this. Because this comes down to me, and I'm trying to be as objective about this as possible. I listened to what all of you had to say, and I'm going to say no. Part of it is I think we may have no one show up, and part of it is we're unable to take action on this item. And as an objective matter, usually the board's concerns are about strictly things that we can do something about. And so it had already occurred to me that if students come to our meetings to speak about this important matter during public comment, that we would have to defer them to appear before the Academic Senate or the Board of Trustees to try to convince them to take action on this, because we aren't really able to take any action that would change these decisions. Although I do agree that it's very important for us to be there for our constituents and to elevate their voice. So I would just like to encourage all of you that if you think this is a matter of concern for students, and I know we all know what it is, please appear on their behalf at the Board of Trustees and similar meetings to try to elevate student voice, because that's probably the most effective thing any of us can do to represent our constituents on these issues. All right, from there, it sounds like we are not going to be having a town hall in lieu of a regular Senate meeting, but we do not have a clear decision on whether or not we will be having a Senate meeting. So would anyone like to move to call the question on whether or not to hold the Senate meeting on Friday, October 1st?
Sure.
Recognize.
I move. Oh, do you have something to say, Molly?
No. I was just gonna do the same thing. Go right ahead,
Okay.
please.
I move to decide on whether or not we have a meeting on a student Senate meeting October 1st, 2021.
All right, with the motion made, do I hear a second?
I second it.
All right, with the motion made and seconded, Brett will now start a roll call vote for whether or not to hold a Senate meeting on Friday, October 1st. Yes being yes, we hold the meeting. No, we do not. Brett?
All right. Vice President Dominique,
Yes, I vote yes.
yes. Director of Finance Brianna,
No.
no. Director of Legislative Affairs Sylvia,
No.
no. Director of Public Relations Sydney,
Yes.
yes. Director of Communications Colton,
If, just to clarify, yes is no meeting, no is a meeting, right?
Other way around. Yes is having a meeting, no is not having a meeting.
Then yes.
Okay. It's yes. Senator Molly?
I vote no.
No. Senator Nathan?
I vote no.
No. CAEB President Mark?
Yes.
Okay. President Burrows, we have another tie. You are the deciding vote.
All right, you guys are killing me a little bit today, but all right, I'm gonna vote yes, because I think this is kind of the trade-off where if we're not gonna have a town hall, we should at least have a regular meeting with public comments so that that gives students the regular opportunity to appear and speak on this matter.
All right. Motion
Chair?
passed 5-4.
Recognized. Go ahead, Molly.
You're doing an excellent job, ma'am.
Thank you. It's challenging because I feel like I'm here more to direct traffic, not to make the decisions. So that's been tough, but hopefully it's been fair. All right. If there are no other matters of discussion on this item, we will move on. And I notice we're getting kind of on in time in the agenda, and I want to make sure we conclude on time. So is there anything else anyone would like to add or ask?
Chair.
Recognized.
And if by next week we, like, I'm allowed to talk about this, right? If by next week we decide that, hey, we don't want a meeting for October 1st, could we just call to another vote if we would want to do it again? Like if we would want to have an October 1st meeting again, or no, could we not do that?
I think technically we could, although we'd kind of be pushing Advisor Sawyer to kind of come up with somebody fast to, well, in that case, I guess it would just be kind of canceling that, because it sounds like Advisor Sawyer is going to be finding someone given how the vote just went. So Brett, do you have any feedback on that?
I've never been in this situation, so it would have to be on the agenda again. So that would be the only way. You couldn't take any action on it without it being on the agenda. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Recognized.
I think since we made the decision, well, yeah, we all kind of contributed to the decision. It's important that we just kind of show that we're consistent. We decided, hey, we're going to have a meeting. We don't want to create a reputation for backtracking or anything like that on decisions we make. And it's not going to hurt anyone if we have a meeting, even if no one comes and we have nothing to talk about. It's a 30-minute meeting. No one ultimately gets hurt by that. And we all signed up knowing that we would probably be in a certain amount of meetings per semester. So I feel like we should just kind of keep it even if we don't find anything to talk about.
Thank you for that comment. In general, it seems like it's always okay to make a new decision in light of new information. But yeah, if there's no information that's come up, that makes sense. Completely up to the board. That's my comment about it. All right. If there are no other questions or discussion, we'll move on to committee reports. All right, seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to committee reports, although I do not believe any committees met this week, at least not chaired by the Senate. So we will move on to board member.
Chair?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the committee reports, I think 2 meetings ago, you posed a question about how did the students access the Affordable Learning Material Committee resources. I have it for you.
We're going right into board member reports, which is when you can share that. Committee reports is
Oh, okay.
specifically for chairs of committees.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
My apology.
No worries. All right, so we'll now go into board member reports and announcements, and go ahead, Senator Nealon. You were just mentioning something about affordable learning materials.
Yes, 2 weeks ago. Thank you for the opportunity. 2 weeks ago, you mentioned that there was a question in the minutes about how do the students access the material that through the library, specifically the scanned chapters for various textbooks. And I have an answer for you on that. Because of copyright laws, all of the scanned chapters have to go through Canvas. So students can actually gain access to that material through their instructor/professor, which would post them onto Canvas for them. Currently, the library is not open for use in person. So the 2-hour time that the students normally have to use all the textbooks on reserve is being handled by students checking out the book for 2 hours, going somewhere outside of the library, and then bringing the book back. It's extremely inconvenient. The librarians are aware of that, and they're working to resolve that. The next thing I wanted to share with you was that they were kind enough to create an actual slot for us on the standing agenda to bring issues to improve the communication between the Affordable Learning Committee and this committee. So, and that's it.
All right, thank you for your report, Senator Nealon. Do any other members of the board have a report or announcement to share?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still looking into the getting food services onto the campus. I have made contact with President Mark Sheppard over there. And I'm just curious, am I allowed to discuss like with any of you about like during here about what we're going to do, or is this kind of just a point in time where I report what I've done so far and what I've gotten so far?
If you'd like to share an update on your progress, you can go right ahead.
I guess I've gotten in contact with more people. That's where I stand on it right now.
Okay, and I am really quick. I am just looking up the VP of Administration, Kubang, her email address, because you might want to reach out to her about this. When we met in an executive leadership team on Monday, President Dixon and Vice President of Administration, Kubang, both talked about this. And again, as I mentioned during Chair's message, there could be some concerns about kind of off-campus contractors and the vaccination requirement to appear on campus. So we will need to coordinate with them anything that we do where this is concerned. All right, while I look for that information, are there any other members of the board who wish to share a report or an announcement?
Chair.
Recognized.
I just wanted to share that next Thursday, Sylvia and I will be attending the President's Circle on campus, hosted from 5 to 7, and we're representing the MESA program in the STEM Center. And yeah, I just wanted to share that information. I thought it was cool that we'll be attending that event. So
awesome. I will see you there. All right. Any other members of the board?
Is that event open to the public, Brianna? Or Sylvia?
Chair,
Recognized.
it is, I'm not sure. I know that, so it's an event that is hosted on behalf of ARC to ARC's biggest donors. And so the point of us being there is like student representatives that are talking to the donors about like the impact that their donations have made. But I'm not sure. You might be able to go on behalf of ASB, but I think that's a decision that Brett might have to make.
Oh, I see Brett's message there. I'm always just looking for on-campus events so that I'm not in my room all week. So I was just wondering.
Well,
Chair.
and that also makes perfect sense as our director of PR. Go ahead, Brett.
That's right where I was going. I will reach out. So it's a foundation event, since they're the ones that like court the donors and stuff. But I will email and see if I can like let them know that you're interested on behalf of Student Senate. It's not like you're just coming through because there's food and stuff, right? You're going because there's like Senate business that we can do. So I will find out for you.
Thank you.
Good question. All right, I did want to share a quick update on behalf of our legislative analyst who has an excused absence today. So Angie had reached out to Professor Valle to follow up on a public comment at last week's meeting regarding the federal delisting of the Nisenan tribal nation, which happened back in the 1950s with the Rancheria Act of California in 1958. And so Professor Valle's recommendation to the board was to take no action at this time. It's a very sensitive matter, very complex issue of tribal sovereignty. It is absolutely in the best interest of the nation to defer to the tribe on making these kinds of decisions, and that it would be very different if they approached us asking for their support, but that in general, because these are very complex and potentially sensitive issues, and we do not want to obstruct relations between the college and among the tribes, that we should take no action at this time. And so I know Angie just wanted to share that in terms of making sure that public comment is addressed and that the board does take public comment and requests for legislation seriously. Any other board reports?
Chair.
Recognized.
I just had a question. I wasn't sure when would be a good time to ask it, but for the Joint Budget Committee, if I wanted to make a channel within our ASB Discord channel to better communicate with the members of that committee, could I do that? I know it's possible to make a private channel, but also because we're a public board, would I not be able to make a private channel? That's just what I'm wondering, I guess.
Yeah, in general, because of Brown Act, we're required to have communication in public, especially when it's, more than half of the board. That's required by law. If you're talking about the ASB Senate Discord specifically, I have no administrative influence over that. That was created by the Director of Public Relations from last year, Nikita Medvedev. And I'm not sure if Nick is still a student at ARC, but he has not turned over administrative access of that to me. And actually the last President Asari had recommended that we completely move to the campus live server. I noticed Brett's still been posting agendas to the ASB Senate Discord from last year. So this is probably something I should have brought up in terms of PR or just general communications. But at this time, we've kind of been using both. So I'm not really sure how we should handle that going forward. I felt like that's a decision not for me to make. So that's maybe a discussion we should have. I can place that on next week's agenda actually. But for the short term, to answer your question, you can make a public channel in the campus live server, but again, I have no admin ability to give you that access for the actual Senate Discord server.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure. Any other board member reports or announcements? All right. Seeing and hearing none, we will now move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address the ASB Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken or extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. Are there any members of the public who wish to make a comment at this time?
Happy Friday.
Thank you for that. Right. Seeing and hearing no other members of the public present, we will move on to adjournment. As a matter of consent, if there are no objections, this meeting will be adjourned at 11:45 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. With no objections, the meeting is adjourned.